Alright guys, it is Tuesday night. It is, let's see, just past 9 o'clock. We got the the upper door jams, the outside of the doors on the top, and the trunk, all cut in. Sides of the doors on the top, it's gonna be red. I decided against cutting this in. I'm going to paint the trunk on a stand or hung. So that being said, I might as well just mask this, and when I paint the roof and the tops of the quarters, it'll be seamless into the trunk jam and the hinges, and I'll have less dust in the trunk by hanging it than I would if it was sitting flat back on the car. I already have a big flat roof to deal with. It's gonna have a lot of dust, so if I can hang that and have a seamless jam in one shot, I might as well do that. It mounts fairly easily. If I have two people to hold it up there, I won't have any issues mounting it with fresh paint, or fairly fresh paint. So that's what I decided to do there. That is our color reveal. That is what is going to be replacing the silver on the top of this car, and the bottom will stay black. So there it is. Nice Aerospecific, solid, I'd say medium to dark red. It's a 77 Ford color, so it is Aerospecific for a respray of the car. I think it's gonna look pretty sharp. Good Wednesday morning, guys. Last night you saw us painting this here, inside and out of the tops of the doors, and the door jamb, and the inside of the trunk. Today we'll be moving on to getting the silver, so I'm going to call it the top of the car, prepped out and ready for the rest of the red paint. We ran some errands this morning. We're picking up a tire machine, a tire changer. So we're gonna go buy that just here in a few minutes. Then we're gonna be back on sanding and prepping away on here. All right, guys, here it is. This is the tire machine we just picked up. Has clamps, adapters for motorcycle tires. It's got a built-in little bead blaster. It's got the little power assist arm to push the tire down, help you roll it on. And I'm already having buyer's remorse. Not in a bad way. It's an awesome machine. Hello, Model A. It's an awesome machine. That's kind of the trouble. It's kind of too awesome and too big for my little old shop. That's more or less a hot rod body shop. Dad's got a tire machine that's a little more standard. Still a rim clamp, works for 97% of the stuff we need to do with it. So I don't know, even though we're adding on, I'm thinking I just bought something that's a little too big for in here, and I think I'm gonna try the barter it off, trade up deal for another car project or motorcycle or tools or something. So I threw it on my Facebook before I list it on the old marketplace. We'll see what comes of it. But I'm hoping I don't have to unload it out of my truck twice. I'm hoping somebody grabs it soon and I can deliver it or slide it right into the back of their truck. So there's that. So now we're gonna get on this. We're gonna do a bunch of sanding, make a little more dust. And then when we're all done making dust, we're gonna do a lot of cleaning. And that's when I'll kind of go over what I do to prep the shop. And different paint jobs are different prep. And I'll kind of explain that later on as well. And then we'll go over what guns I use. For the subscriber that asked, I'll make sure I tag him or get his name and make sure he watches to see what we do to prep the shop and what we use for guns. But for now, I'm going to commence to untaping some stuff and starting to sand. A lot of hand sanding around all my edges, and I still got to chase out the other side of the roof and then a final sand over everything with 400, because right now I'm down to like 180 and 220 in spots. So I'm going to 400 everything after I'm done hand sanding my edges. Blow it off and commence to wiping down and taping and cleaning the shop. Here we go. All right, we are down to the stage of hand sanding all of our edges and starting the process of blowing it off, wiping it down, blowing it off, wiping it down, and taping up all the chrome, taping up all the door jambs. I'm going to show you why we painted this like we did and how we're going to tape it up and the reasons I did that. Yeah, we're going to commence to hand sanding and give this thing a blow down. Probably stick it outside so we can clean up the shop a whole bunch. We've made a lot of dust in here. Got tools and sandpaper everywhere. We'll get this situated and hung. I believe I've already 400 the outside of that. I'll go over it again real quick because we painted the inside, anything that blew over. And then we'll tape this up as well. We'll tape up the inside. So that's where we're headed now, is hand sand land. Okay, so all of our edges are hand sanded. We left certain things masked on the door. I'll show you that in a second. What we're gonna do now is we've blown the car off a few times. We're gonna put it outside. We're gonna start cleaning out the shop. Now what we did here, I'll try to show it on camera. There's a lip right here where it's the door jamb and then this rain guard starts. I'm gonna tape, I believe, right on this lip right here so that this jamb is seamless. And then the tape line will be at that seam and it'll be up the rain guard and up the roof. So what we did up here where, and I know a lot of you are gonna say, pull the molding off or the weather strip off. This weather strip's all glued on here, and after talking to the customer about taking it off, he said just tape it off. So we taped it off to do what we had to do up here. I'm gonna leave it taped. Actually might throw a fresh piece over it so that any of the paint doesn't flake off and blow out, but I'm gonna leave it taped up essentially so that out here it doesn't get any paint blown on it. And I'll just mask the door off from this tape line out. Now for these lines here, I will have a hard tape line, but anybody that works in a body shop knows that if I tape down this corner and just scuff this very edge, I won't have a dry blow in beyond here because I'm going to run a piece of tape and I'm going to tape my jambs up. So the only clear paint that would blow in will just go to this corner. Out we go. So, to answer part of the questions of what do we do to prep the shop, what you do is you need to get yourself an 11-year-old and some roller blades and a broom, and that's what we do to sweep the shop. He does the initial sweeping. All joking aside, he helps. We sweep everything out. Sometimes I don't dare go crazy with blowing off the ceiling, blowing off the lights and everything. If I'm gonna paint right away, that's a no-no. You're better off leaving the dust that's settled there alone and kind of doing the bare minimum cleaning. Kind of clean the floor where you're gonna be walking, anywhere you're gonna be walking to a paint bench, make sure that area is kind of cleaned up so you're not stirring stuff up. This go around here, I'm gonna I'll make the call, and I'm either gonna paint this late tonight or first thing tomorrow morning, so the dust will have time to settle. So I did go ahead and I lightly blew off my ceiling and my lights, and along with sweeping, I kind of blow the floor off and blow the edges. Yes, I do wet my floor, but you have to be careful wetting your floor. If you wet your floor, make sure you wet your floor and it's pretty damp and gonna stay that way throughout your paint job, because you don't want to A, be re-wetting, B, I've seen it done, I've seen it happen. People will wet the floor right before they paint. You don't want to do that, because when you wet the floor, whether you think you have this floor all blown off and swept up and blown off and clean and you've got the water, when you wet the floor, you're kicking up dust. So you're best to wet the floor, you know, half hour in advance to painting. Get it good and wet, and make sure that even though you already wiped the car all down and then wet the floor, make sure after you wet the floor, you wipe that car down again, at least, you know, tack it down, because the water will stir up dust. As funny as that sounds, you think it just drop or stick or whatever. It stirs it up, seen it happen. So that's what we do. If I'm really going to town, I know I'm doing a complete paint job, I'd be doing this now, and I'd be painting this time tomorrow, where I have a pretty good idea I'm going to be wet sanding and buffing this roof anyway. I'm trying to just minimize the amount of junk that I get in it. So doing a middle of the road cleaning, kick the car out, sweeping everything, light blowing down. We'll get the car in here, we'll blow it off again, we'll wipe it down, we'll start taping. And then as we get closer, nearing the end of the car being all taped up, that's when I'll probably wet my floor. I might even wet my floor twice. I might wet it, finish masking, wipe it down, and then right before I'm ready for sealer, I might re-wet the floor, tack the car down, and go. So that's what I do for my shop prep. It's gonna get a whole lot easier here shortly with our addition, because that's gonna be more or less my paint booth. I won't be doing body work right up until the last hour of painting something, which is a no-no, but it's what you do when you have one bay. So we do the best we can, cleaning it up, wetting the floor down, and that's my biggest tip. If you wet the floor, make sure you wipe the car down again. That's the biggest tip I can give for that. Other than that, yeah, I do run a fan. I have an exhaust fan. A complete paint job, I usually throw some filters. I have a window on the side. I just throw some furnace filters for my intake air. In the wintertime, that's hard. So I have a office that's attached right here down to the house, and it's heated, it's warm. Sometimes if I get a good enough pull and I need to just clear out this shop, I'll crack the door to that room and I'll pull a little heated air from that room. But yeah, there again, the new booth is going to be nice, new bay is going to be nice, because I'm going to be filtering all my intake air from this side of the shop. So it'll be somewhat clean air, it'll be warm air, and it'll be filtered. So there's that. So you guys just painting at home in your shop, wet the floor down, wipe it down, throw a fan in the window, whatever. I'm not gonna say do that. I have an actual exhaust fan that's explosion proof. The guys that are using box fans in the window, yes, we've all done it, but you shouldn't do it because they're not explosion proof. So don't do that. But if you're painting at home and you need a fan, yes, don't use a box fan in the window. Yeah, all right, well, we'll do a little more cleaning and then we'll get the car back in here. Bentley, do you have any words of advice for on how to sweep with rollerblades? Is it tricky?
Not really.
It takes some getting used to? No?
Not really.
You just rollerblade with a broom, huh?
Just know how to rollerblade.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
All right. Well, you get that stuff piled up, and then I'm gonna do my final edge sweep and clean up some more junk, and we'll get the car in here. Guys, 55 is back in the shop with the assistance of Samantha and Bentley. We got some sweeping done. I picked up some of my messes, not all my messes, but some of my messes. So we're going to let the dust settle in here for a few minutes, let the temperature come back up. I had the doors open. The car's a little chilly from being outside, not cold, won't take much. We'll blow it off, wipe it down, and we'll start masking everything up. So for now, we'll take a little break, do a little office work for half a minute, and then get back after it.
What is up, YouTube? I just got done my full-time job. So since Joe is out in the shop working on the 55 Chevy and getting that ready to paint it red tonight, I thought I'd give you a quick little glimpse of what goes on inside the house when I'm done working. We just got a big shipment of hats. So I do those all myself. So I'm gonna set up the time lapse and give you a little glimpse of 70 hats getting done. And if you want any, you can go to www.highlandviewhotrods.com and order yours there. All right, have fun. Thank you. Bye.
folks. 8:13 Wednesday evening. We are taped up, wiped down, cleaned up. We're going to wet our floor, mix up some sealer, tack everything back down, and get laying some sealer, some color, and some clear. Stay tuned. Oh no, guys, we did the wrong color on the top. It's supposed to be black on the bottom, red on the top. Man. Just kidding. That's the black sealer. We're all sealed up. I don't like what the sealer did in a couple spots, so I'm gonna try and fix that before we go on to base. I'm gonna let it set up for now and see where we go from there.